Hello, all my beautiful shadow people out there today. We are at the week of March 27th. And this week we are going to look at our demons, the parts of ourselves that we don't like anyone to see. So we're going to start out with our journal question. And always remember that if you don't like journaling, you're always free to just meditate on the question or sit with it. And if you do like journaling, I suggest that you take the time to do it in a separate space from other people and maybe in a book or a program where no one else would be able to access it. Because even if it's written somewhere that's mostly private, if there is a chance that someone might see it, it seems to limit our ability to speak honestly. And the more stream of consciousness style writing you can do, so the more of just writing exactly what you're thinking as it comes out, the more likely that you will get the answers that you're looking for and start to dig deeper into the parts of yourself that you might not see on a regular basis. So the question for this week is, what part of yourself do you hide? So we're looking at ourselves in a way where we're trying to figure out parts of ourselves that either bring up shame or fear or a feeling of worthlessness. Or maybe even you just don't feel comfortable people knowing something about you for some reason. And when you answer that question, you need to follow it up with more questions like, why do I feel that way? When did this start? Where did it come from? Does anyone else in my family seem to have this same fear? We'll start to look at patterns. So really dig in and don't be afraid to follow the questions or the thoughts where they go. And don't shy away from anything that comes up. So that's the first part of our practice this week. And feel free to pause this at any time if you want to do that first before going on. But otherwise, we'll move on to the part of the process that involves becoming more aware of how these things manifest in our body and in our lives. So last week, we looked at feeling the emotion in the body without thinking about it in the head. So just taking it out of that feedback loop that our brain creates, where it keeps adding more and more energy to the emotion and building it bigger and bigger by just going to where the emotion is and letting it work its process out. And sometimes if we've had emotions buried for a long time, it doesn't all go away at one shot. It's a process. So maybe you come back to the exercise. But I thought for people who are more visual, I would provide a different method of experiencing those emotions. So this is sort of a guided meditation. I don't practice guided meditation all the time, but I do think sometimes for people who need a visual experience, it does help just kind of create something they can hold on to. So the practice we're going to do is called Chöd, which is actually a Tibetan Buddhist practice spelled Chod, and I'll include links at the end of the video with information about it. And there's many different ways of practicing. The term Chöd actually refers to severing. That's what the word means. And somehow that has slowly evolved into the practice of viewing your demons and feeding your demons, which is what we're going to do today. Obviously, coming from a very, very long religion, there's many different practices and ways of doing this, and they can get quite complicated. But I just want to give you guys something you can do on your own quietly with yourself. And if you want to investigate further different methods or ways. And also, if you don't like the idea of doing something with a religion, feel free to go back to last week's practice and do it again. And also, if you don't like the idea of demons, maybe because of your background, then don't feel like you have to practice this either. You're the only one who's going to know if this will work for you or if it's going to cause too many issues. But I do think it's important to be able to personify what we're working with. And demon is a nice general term that doesn't honestly really mean anything. It's more of a concept, so it's easier to manipulate because there's no one representation of what a demon is in our head. So anyways, let's get to the practice. So if you're sitting somewhere and you've been thinking about the part of yourself that you don't want anyone else to know about, we're going to find if we can feel that in our body. And if you've had something else coming up this week that's been bugging you, you can feel that emotion. And wherever you feel it in the body, I want you to breathe into it. And with your eyes closed, I want you to start picturing what that emotion would feel like if it was sitting across from you in the form of a demon. And don't feel like that needs to be anything specific. It could be just a general sense of what's in front of you. It doesn't need to have a specific description. But if you enjoy building a specific description of your demons, I think sometimes it helps us relate to them better if we can actually see them in our mind. So spend as much time as you need describing this holder of your emotions, this character, and really seeing them sit in front of you. And after you have them solid enough that they exist for you, you're going to take turns moving into them and then moving back to yourself. So once they're visualized, you're going to imagine what it would feel like to be them, personified, that emotion as a demon, and then back into your body, gazing at them. And I want you to explore what that is, moving between those two forms. And once you feel like you've spent enough time doing that, we're going to take time to feed our demon. So if you want to physically move or just imagine yourself moving and holding your hands up as if you are creating a cup to catch water, hold that up to your demon. And I want you to picture your hands filling with life energy from you. And that can look however you like. Some people like to picture it as a golden liquid, but it can just be light, or maybe it's a feeling of energy that fills your hands. And once your hands are filled up, you're going to offer your demon a drink and allow them to be filled with that energy too, because they're part of you and you're going to take care of them. And once they've had time to drink from the life in your hands, you can take a sip too, because you'll take care of yourself as well. And if you need to, you can envision both of you beginning to glow with that life energy. And then you can rest your hands back down. And with your eyes closed, invite your demon back in to become part of you once more. But know if you ever want to commune with your demon again, you're always welcome to invite it to have a sit and a drink with you. And now for our final part, we're going to move back into our body with 10 count breath. Now, this is a rather basic meditation, and the purpose of meditation is to teach us to be still and to teach us not to think, but you can't actually tell your mind not to think. So what we do is give it something else to focus on, and we create a way of allowing it to concentrate. So we want our mind to concentrate on something. What we're going to concentrate on is counting our breath. And what we're going to do with our eyes still closed, if that's comfortable for you, so we're going to count every inhale and exhale. 1, next breath 2, next breath 3, until you get to 10. And then you're just going to start back at 1 again. And if you lose count, you're going to start back at 1 again. And if you go over 10, just start back at 1 again. The idea is not to create a competition of counting or a game for your mind to play, just a very simple, and some would say boring, task that allows your mind something to focus on without making it think. So this is a really good way of clearing the energy out of your head and body. So If you want, you can always set a timer for a few minutes and just practice that. And whenever you feel back in yourself, you can just stop and come back to where you are. And that's our practice for this week. Don't forget to check the links and feel free to come to the website shadowcraftcult.com for more information. Take care.